high on the cliffs of a wind-swept coast,
where gulls wheeled and the sea roared like a living beast,
there stood a tiny village called Windmere. The cottages were squat and strong,
their roofs lashed with driftwood beams to keep from being torn away by storms.
Life was hard, their fishermen wrestled daily with the restless ocean,
And children grew up with salt on their tongues and wind in their hair. Among them was a boy named Seal.
whose father was a fisherman and whose mother wove nets.
Unlike the others, Seal had a restless spirit.
While the villagers feared the sea's rage, he felt drawn to it.
Every evening, he would climb to the cliff's edge and watch the horizon,
where the sun melted into the waters. One dusk, as the last light faded, Seal noticed something strange, a bell tolling faintly.
Though no bell tower existed in Windmere,
The sound came from the waves themselves, low, mournful, and steady.
he told his father, but the man only frowned and said, "Stay away from what you don't understand."
The sea keeps its own secrets. But Seal could not stay away. The next night he crept to the cliffs again, and the bell sounded clearer.
He followed the call down to the rocky shore where he found,
Wedged between tide pools, the remains of a wrecked ship.
its mast was broken, its hull splintered.
But hanging from a chain of corroded bronze was a bell, half buried in seaweed.
It rang though no wind touched it. Curiosity overcame fear.
Seal reached out, and as his hand brushed the metal,
The world shifted for a breathless instant. He stood not on the shore, but in the middle of the sea, calm and endless. Around him glimmered figured sailors of long ago, their faces pale, their eyes sad. One stepped forward and whispered,
"We are bound to the bell, lost until it is carried home." Seal blinked, and the vision was gone. He staggered back.
heart pounding, but the bell still tolled, waiting. For days he wrestled with the knowledge. He could not tell the others.
They would laugh or forbid him.
Yet the thought of those sailors, trapped in silence, haunted him. Finally, one moonlit night,
He pried the bell loose and tied it to his back, with a small boat and nothing but his courage.
he pushed out to sea.
The waves were cruel, tossing his craft like a toy, but the bell guided him, its sound steady, pulling him farther from land. Hours passed, then days dot at last. In the deep grey dawn, he saw it, a jagged reef rising from the water,
Marked by a broken pillar of stone.
The bell grew louder, shaking in his grasp. Seal lifted it high and let it drop into the sea. The moment it vanished beneath the waves, the water stilled, the air grew calm, and then just for an instant he saw the sailors again.
Their faces softened with peace, before they faded like mist.
When Seal returned to Windmere, the storms that had long plagued the village grew fewer, the seas calmer. The villagers called it luck. Only Seal knew it was the sea's gratitude, and that somewhere in the deep, a bell now rang no more.